Welcome to the Stream Signal Podcast. We're the only podcast that's rooting for the crocodile, and we hope he swallows your friends whole. I am your host, George, and this week I am joined by my co host.
Jeremy
Jeff. Oh, we did it at the same time, Jeff.
and Jeremy.
And this is a special episode for us. This week we have a very, very special guest on the podcast. We have Josh Spiegel from Movie Timelines, a YouTube channel that is one of my absolute favorites. Thank you, Jeff, for introducing me to Movie Timelines a few years ago.
Mhm.
And yeah, we have Josh on today. He's going to be talking through some movies here with us, and then also a little challenge that we kind of put together based on one of Josh's recurring segments on YouTube. So yeah, Josh, if you want to introduce yourself, floor's all yours, sir.
Yeah, thanks a lot, and thank you guys for having me. I always like doing stuff like this. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, Movie Timelines is the channel. I have a lot of different shows. My main show is the 80s Project, which I'm going through every single horror movie released in the 1980s, starting with January 1st, 1980 and going on.
I love the 80s Project. I got to tell you, Josh, I don't know how you locate the movies that you do, but they're between Jeff, myself, and Jeremy, I feel like we have an encyclopedic horror knowledge. But then I go and watch the 80s Project. I'm like, I'm nothing. I've got nothing. Like so many movies I've never even heard of on the list. It's absolutely incredible.
That part of it, I'm so glad to be done with. But the whole research part of it has been done for a while now. It's like I have everything. I have all of the movies like listed out all the way through 1989. But yeah, it was just a lot of like cross-referencing between IMDb and Letterboxd, and then sorting by dates, and then going through each one and like dividing up genres. Very painstaking, very lengthy process. I'm done with all that. I don't have to do that. Tracking the movies down is also like not only finding the movies that exist, but then also going and find copies of them that I can watch is also a challenge. I've been pretty lucky so far, though. I mean, thankfully, the internet has many bountiful secrets and hidden corners to search in.
Yes, it does. I found that out doing a movie challenge, not this past year, but the year before. Back, it was like an exploitation challenge almost in June, and there were so many movies that I could not find a copy of physically that I was able to find like through archive.org. It's great, but yeah.
Our archive is great. There's a couple of other like little niche download sites that I found that are I guess they're legal. I don't know. I mean, they've been up for ages, so I assume they're somewhat legal.
Exactly. We're all that great.
Legal enough. Yeah, I was going to say, Movie Timelines is great. The 80s Project is how I found your channel, Josh. I stumbled. I don't even remember. I watch a lot of YouTubers talking about movies. I'm always trying to find movies I haven't heard of, I haven't seen, because it feels like it's becoming harder and harder to do. And your channel is one of the few that I will see something and be like, my goodness, here's a list, and there are 2 movies on this I've never heard of in my life. So you're certainly doing good work.
That's been part of it for me too. I know a lot of it is like sometimes I'll do something along the lines of I'll do a video on like Lovecraftian movies, and inevitably somebody's like, you forgot In the Mouth of Madness, and I'm like, no, I didn't. There's 500 videos that will talk about In the Mouth of Madness. There's one that doesn't.
I've never heard of this John Carpenter.
Yeah. Hello, what?
It must be.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome,
I was going to say, so Josh, one of the things that we've been doing on the podcast here for the last couple of weeks is we have been highlighting summer horror movies. So far, we've done The Burning, we've done Tourist Trap, Ice Cream Man was last week's episode. This week, we decided to give Lake Placid a watch.
Nice.
So Lake Placid from 1999. This one was directed by Steve Miner. Also directed The Incredible House from 1985, and Friday 13th Part 2, Part 3, Steve has done quite a bit on the horror side. So before we go into Lake Placid, I'll go ahead and make this clear. I had never seen Lake Placid before.
Oh wow.
It came out it came out when I was in
Wow.
high school, and I remember like everybody I knew went to the theater to go see it. I didn't drive the hour and a half to go to a movie theater just to go see it. And at that time, I was, and I think a lot of us were probably this way as teenagers, but more of like the gore hound. Oh, I'm not going to like it. It's a major studio film. It can't be fun. And I still had that teenage mentality about the movie, even going into watching it this week. So once I saw Steve Miner's name pop up, I was like, oh, I'm sold. This is going to be a blast. How have I not seen this? So
Wait. I think you buried the lead there. So
Yeah.
I know I don't want to get too off topic here. But did I hear you say you didn't want to drive the hour and a half to the theater?
yeah, it was somewhere between an hour and a half to get to
Where
the
did
theater.
you live? Did you live in Deliverance?
I lived in the middle of nowhere, yeah, out on the coast of North
Jesus.
Carolina. Like a little town. There was maybe 200 people when I lived there. There's maybe 100 now
Holy
because everybody is like past of old age.
wow.
No stores, no stoplights, one road, middle of nowhere. Nobody's ever heard of it. Yeah,
That
Well,
makes Tobaccoville sound not so bad where I grew up.
yeah,
I'm always trying to tell people that, I'm like, well, North Carolina's not quite as bad as you think. And then, now we've got George talking about his.
right. The middle of nowhere.
Yeah, George, an hour and a half to the closest house with power when I was a kid.
It was 45 minutes to go rent movies. Yeah, it was
Wow.
brutal.
All right.
So yeah, I just didn't see it at the time. Yeah, once, like I said, I saw Steve Miner's name pop up. I knew it was in good hands. But for anyone else who was like me, who has not seen Lake Placid, I knew the plot, but maybe you don't. So Lake Placid is about this female paleontologist who is sent to Maine kind of against her will to investigate the kind of savage murder of a local diver. They believe that there is a crocodile in a lake in Maine. She teams up with the local police, along with a fish and game officer and a crocodile expert, to try to hunt down what they believe to be a killer crocodile. So that's kind of a short synopsis there. Let me go with, and you know what, Jeremy, I'll go with you first. What do you think about Lake Placid? What were your thoughts this time around?
So I remember seeing this when it first came out, and I probably haven't watched it since then, actually. But I remember loving it at the time. And I have similar feelings going back to it. I think the entire cast here is fantastic. Oliver Platt as like the weird, eccentric, rich guy who wants to swim with crocodiles is like he's just fantastic in that role, and still so relevant to the world we live in
Is he
today.
like a philosophy professor or something, but he's rich?
Yeah, something like that.
Something weird like that.
So I thought that role was great, and of course Betty White is the greatest thing in the movie. She's just fantastic as this old lady that is feeding this monster. So yeah, I love the movie. I think it's just great. It's well worth watching.
The thing that was interesting for me was that I remember this coming out. I don't think I watched it when it was in theaters. I think I saw it a little bit later because I was really like, I was probably, this is 99, so I was probably, I don't know, 16, 17, somewhere in that vicinity. And I thought I was just a very, very serious dude. Like everything, it's weird when I look at, I think I've mentioned this before on the show. Going back, I liked all kinds of things that were not serious, like Evil Dead and stuff like that. But I just considered myself very, very serious, and I was like super goth and everything. So a movie about a giant crocodile was, I didn't care about that. But I did eventually see it on VHS or DVD at some point, and I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it back then. I don't think I was on the wavelength of it.
Yeah.
But going back this time, what I love about it is it has this. It's like a Sci-Fi Channel monster movie if you gave them a budget. If you gave them actually like a really good budget to make a movie. So it has great actors. Like the special effects from Stan Winston Studios are just unbelievable. Like cool mixture of practical effects and CGI. And like you said, like some of the I had forgotten Bridget Fonda was in this, and I actually ended up like really liking she plays this kind of weird, like kind of a mix of like sometimes she's this badass like chick, and sometimes she's like terrified of everything and kind of like flip flops back and forth. And I just kind of really like it. Something about that I thought was fun. So yeah, I definitely think this one is one I bet a lot of people haven't seen or haven't seen in a long time, and would be a really good revisit to check it, especially just because you just don't see these kind of mixtures of practical effects and CG anymore.
Quite like that. I was pretty surprised by the CGI. I mean, the opening with the first kill of the diver, there's some CGI there, and I was like, wow, okay, that's pretty good CGI for 1999. I mean, I know it was in use by that point, but not a whole lot of films, especially not horror films, were using CGI. But I feel like it's used sparingly throughout this, so it works for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, a $30 million budget for a horror movie in 1999 was
Crazy.
very large.
I was actually thinking about that as I was watching it, because I noticed it was written by David E. Kelly, who has done so much with TV, like L.A. Law, Boston Legal, Boston Public, Ally McBeal, like you name it. I'm like, why is this guy writing a giant croc movie for a big studio that has a major budget? And I was like, it can't be Godzilla '98, right? Because that was a bomb. But then it hit me. Anaconda had come out 2 years before and was a pretty good success, right? So
yeah,
I'm wondering if that was like the impetus for this movie. If the studio was like, we've got to have our own Anaconda. Get David E. Kelly. We want a crocodile. We want people getting eaten. You know, that's the only way that I could see that they got him on board to write this thing. Yeah, it's nuts. But the script for this is super fun. It's great. It doesn't slow down once it gets started. That was one thing that really surprised me, was just how fast it kind of moves along. What do you think, Josh? What are your thoughts about Lake Placid, sir?
Well, I mean, I saw it in the theater. I was there opening weekend. Since my favorite movie of all time is Jaws, anytime you got a movie where you have a larger than normal creature underwater or even in the woods or whatever, I'm on board. If it's a Jaws ripoff, I want to go see it. And I remember we went to go see this at that particular point in time, '99. It was my ex, and I remember being a little disappointed with it. I remember thinking it was like okay, but nothing really, nothing that I hadn't seen before, and a bunch of other Jaws knockoffs. And I remember my biggest complaint was that I loved the practical like croc stuff, but I thought the CG stuff looked silly. Over time, I think it certainly it isn't as bad as some of the sci-fi original.
Right.
CG, because it was like clearly budgeted, but I just wanted to see more of those big practical crocs running around. So the fact that I wasn't getting as much of that was a bit of a bummer. As I've revisited it over time, I've certainly appreciated it more. I still think it's fun. I enjoy watching it. I think because I had went to go see it with high expectations, because I mean it was hyped up at the time. It was a big release. And had David Kelly behind it, so that people were like, "Oh, this is going to be a good one," and it ended up just being all right. And if you're watching it, it's just like a fun, trash kind of silly movie where every single character is acting it really, really well, but the characters are just kind of stock. But I mean, everyone's doing such a good job in that movie. That it sort of makes it that's what makes it worth watching.
Yeah, isn't this the kind of the first time too that Betty White started kind of doing her like like kind of foul mouth thing? I don't think she'd really done that prior to this, right?
Yeah, I think this was kind of when she broke out into that and kind of that wholesome image like was gone and started doing more raunchy humor here.
And that was funny. Usually, none of us had seen anything like that at that point.
Well, I will point out though, because again, I think when this came out, I think I was older than all you guys, and so at that particular point in time, there was this trend of like, where our joke is, this person normally wouldn't swear, but now they're swearing, and there was a whole bunch of like older people in movies that were swearing. So like, the joke of an older person swearing had kind of wore thin a little bit, but the fact that it was Betty White certainly made it stand out a little bit more than the other ones did.
It's a reverse Andrew Dice Clay, because he did that like sitcom or whatever where he was doing that, like the family thing. So he was doing the opposite of what he normally did.
Yeah.
Gotta do that.
Andrew Clay.
And Andrew Dice Clay.
No, when he did the sitcom, they moved Dice. He was just Andrew Clay.
Oh, was it just Andrew Clay at that point?
That's right.
Well, yeah, I always wondered, is the Dice Clay, that's got to be something like the John Cougar thing, right? Like it's just not actually part of his name. It has to be something he's adding in there.
Yeah, and when he was trying to be like legit and sort of become more of a mainstream guy, he dropped the Dice for a very brief period of time.
Of course. That's great.
And it worked out in his benefit, and now he's the biggest star in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody remembers him.
He's like Betty White, but now, right?
Yeah.
So, watching Lake Placid, I will say one thing that cracked me up is Oliver Platt just absolutely despises the sheriff in this movie, played by Bernie Gleeson.
Gleeson, yeah.
And he's always like, "Oh, you're so fat. You're just a fat cop." And keeps cracking jokes about Brendan Gleeson being fat. I'm pretty sure they're about the same size. It was killing me throughout the movie. I'm like, really? This one's written for a different person, not for Oliver Platt.
We're on a roll with this. Is remember we had the kid Ice Cream Man.
Yeah, that wasn't fat.
No, it had like a pillow stuffed under his shirt. we're gonna find a hidden subgenre of like, not fat jokes in horror.
I do think you were talking about the practical effects and how there were so few in the movie. I do think this movie does suffer from being released in that 1999 era when episode 1 was coming out, and there was so much hype around CG as like replacing practical effects, and practical effects were dead because there was so much about episode 1 like surpassing everything. And now looking back, that also doesn't look very good, particularly.
No, not at all.
So I do think this kind of suffers from that being released in that time period when practical effects were almost like, oh, that's old and not nearly as good as this new CG technology we have, which does not hold up as well for sure.
No. I mean, in that era, very much like I really liked CG being a thing for spaceships and stuff like that, but then anytime you see it going to X, it doesn't hold up.
Yeah, and that brings another point around. We don't really see the crocodile for much of the movie. I was looking up some information on it after watching it, and I think somebody had calculated it was like a little bit over 3.5 minutes of runtime that the croc was actually in for the hour and a half of the movie. Which, after thinking about it, that sounds about right. You don't really see the crocodile all that often in the movie.
Yeah, that used to be a bigger thing. I feel like in those monster movies, it was like you do a lot of build up to the moments where you have the monster, but you don't have the monster front and center a whole lot.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, I think in Jaws, the shark's on screen for like 4 minutes.
Yeah, it's the same thing, right? Barely
same
on
thing.
screen.
So it's, very same concept. It's just not there. I think that's pretty common in these for sure.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
This just doesn't have the story that holds up as well as Jaws' story does surrounding that few minutes.
Yeah,
But
not at all.
I don't know. I mean, I think Steve Miner's giving Spielberg a run for his money, right?
Maybe not. But go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if you loved the CG in this, you should see the even better CG alligator movie, Bad CG Gator.
I may know the person who made that.
I would not be surprised. That does seem like a person you would know. You're like, I produced that movie. There's 3 shower scenes in it.
Hey, don't knock a shower scene, sir. Yeah, I was gonna say. I know Josh said that he's seen Bad CGI Gator. I figured, if anybody's seen it, it would be.
Yeah.
But
sharks or gators, I'm down.
There you go. Yeah, for Lake Placid, for being my first watch, I went into it with very lowered expectations. just was after it being nearly 3 decades of not seeing it. But yeah, I had a fun time with it. I mean, it knows it's a B movie. It plays to that quite a bit. I feel like it plays to the comedy a good bit. I think if they played this straight, it would just be absolutely awful. But yeah, all the performances, a fun little script. I mean, it's nothing groundbreaking, but yeah, had a lot of fun with it.
Looking, there definitely was a trend of like giant monster movies at that time, or giant
There
animal,
was.
because like this came out July 16th, and then 2 weeks later, Deep Blue Sea came out. So,
Oh yeah,
so definitely like something going on with Hollywood hitting a lot of giant monster movies probably in the aftermath of Anaconda, like you said.
yeah. What was the kind of Lovecraftian one with the cruise ship that came out at the same time? Deep Rising. Deep Rising.
Deep-
Yeah, Deep Rising.
Amazing movie.
Yeah, that one's cool.
Yeah, I love that one.
One of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, I just that was one that I just saw once again. I don't know what was happening around 98, 99 for me, but yeah, just kind of a blind spot. I just watched Deep Rising a couple years ago and had a blast with it. That one was super fun. So
Saw that in the
Bats was also
opening weekend by myself.
Nobody else in the theater.
Theater with me, just me.
That's pretty cool though.
Yeah, I've only had that happen once. I went and saw Alone in the Dark
Same.
and was literally alone in the dark. There was nobody else in the theater, and I feel like it doesn't matter what anybody else that night was doing. They had a better night than I did watching that.
Yeah, probably.
That happened to me with Tusk opening weekend.
Oh, really?
Yep, no one else in the theater for Tusk. Shockingly, that wasn't drawing a huge crowd.
That's the only thing I've ever seen. That when I saw Jason X, it was just me and my buddy.
Yeah.
It was just those two.
Yeah.
Theater.
Well, Jason X suffered from leaking on the internet like months before it released in theaters, so
Oh, I didn't even know that.
I feel like everybody already seen it.
So that was Lake Placid. All right. So
Yeah.
I think the consensus was go in expecting kind of a popcorn movie, and you're going to get exactly that. It's a fun way to kill an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So, like I was saying in the beginning of the podcast here, at the beginning of the episode, we have Josh on, and with his YouTube channel, Movie Timelines, one of the series that he does is Do Your Worst. And with Do Your Worst, I don't want to speak for you, Josh, but people will basically suggest to Josh the absolute worst horror movies or worst movies that they have ever seen in their lives. They will have Josh watch these movies, and then Josh will rank them per episode to see which one was actually the worst out of the recommendations. So we thought it would be fun to do kind of a mini version of that since we had Josh on the episode this week. So what we did was we gave Josh a movie that we thought was going to be absolutely terrible to watch, and he gave us one back that I know he had already seen, and Josh was pretty confident about that one being absolutely terrible. So, yeah, that was. Well, I will say for the listeners, I know Jeff and Jeremy already know, but Josh actually apologized after he suggested the movie.
Oh wow.
He was like, "You guys are gonna watch this movie. I am so sorry." So we'll jump into those and kind of see who did their worst this time.
Yeah. Before we get too deep, though, I did want to say one thing because we tend to what we try to do on our show more than I think more often than not we try to highlight the positive things in movies and try not to dog things too much. So I do want to say before we get into this, we're probably going to say some stuff that's pretty cruel. But the Tony Malinowski, who did Night of Horror, and when we get to the one that we gave Josh, Field of Screams, those were two guys, and of course now I've lost that on my thing.
Alex
Alex Mode,
Evan.
There we go. Yeah, those guys. Alex Mode and Evan Runkle. The fact that they got movies made at all is amazing. It's hard to make a movie. Jeremy and I made a 7-minute short film, and it took us years to get it done. So I mean, it's and there's really not that much to it. So that's what's so surprising. It takes a lot of hard work, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get something made. So it's cool they got it made. Hopefully they were happy with it. There's just things land in different ways, and these particular movies I don't think landed so great. So yeah, go ahead and get into it there. But we just want anybody to think we want to over here like slam trash talking people. So that's not really what we were here for.
Nah, I mean, there's enough podcasts and YouTube series about that. I mean, even with Josh, when you do your worst, you don't even really dog on the movies that much. I mean,
Well,
you'll say, yeah,
no.
this was painful or whatever, but.
And you know what? It's funny because it's actually funny you say that, because one of the things that I really do consider very sharply is I do like to consider the fact of how much money the movie was made for. I don't like to tear down these small, tiny movies that my joke is like, if you're making your movie with like an iPhone $5 and a dream, I'm gonna be a lot more lenient on you than I am if you have like a $10 million Hollywood production budget behind you. Those are the movies that like I reserve more of the scorn for. Although that being said, I'm never above some constructive criticism about pointing out things that can be improved, and that is the case of the movie today.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I agree with this. I've talked about this for a long time with friends when they ask me what the worst movie I've seen is, and I always said I don't consider any of the stuff that I watch that's super low budget to be the worst I've ever seen, because I don't think I can't watch something like Field of Screams here and say, this should be judged on the same like level as Star Wars Episode 9 or something where they had infinite money. It's like, well, if you make Star Wars Episode 9 with infinite money and it's bad, that's a problem. But when you have $15,000 that Field of Screams had for a budget and you end up with this, it's like, okay, I there's a curve here we're grading on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and I like what Josh said. I like the idea that they're mostly just mentioning things that maybe this is stuff filmmakers can learn from. They hear this kind of thing, go, oh, maybe I should avoid this, when I go to make my movie or whatever. So
yeah, and I mean, I'm one who loves nano budget films, just movies that have no money, like backyard horror film type things.
Sure.
The cheapest of the cheap, because a lot of times it leads to more interesting ideas sometimes, or a lot of ingenuity that you just don't see in big budget films. So I dig it. But yeah, so we've already mentioned Field of Screams. We'll jump into Field of Screams, and then we will jump into the other film for this piece. But like we said, Field of Screams, so this one is a newer film. It is from 2025. As we said, directed by Alex Moad and Evan Runkle. It is about a young man whose grandfather has passed away. He goes out to the farm to start cleaning out this farm property along with some friends, and they don't realize that there's a sentient scarecrow on the property who will do anything he can to kind of keep the property untouched. So this was an interesting one. I had not seen this one before we had recommended it over to Josh. I believe maybe it was Jeremy who had recommended this one for the kind of do your worst. And I'll say, when I started watching it, we got like 10 minutes in. I'm like, hey, this isn't half bad. I don't understand why Jeremy was saying that we should suggest this one. And then by the end of it, I was like, I don't care about any of these people. I just want it to end. Please just make this movie end. And one of the worst things a movie can be for me, like, I don't care if you make a bad movie, make it entertaining somehow. The worst crime that a movie can make is that it's boring or, just sluggish. Not much really happens. I feel like that was what I took away from this one, was for me, just not much really happens here. What's everybody else's thoughts here on Field of Screams? And actually, I should probably pitch this over to Josh, since this was a recommendation for you to watch for the piece.
His suffering.
So here's the thing with this one. What's funny is I actually had this movie. It was in my basket of like movies to watch. And I was like, oh, all right, I guess I have a reason to watch this now. And I ultimately, this movie's not terrible script wise. Like the script has the nugget of actually a decent film in there. Like, I like the idea of the scarecrows. The guy doing all of the contortions as the scarecrow, I thought was cool. The biggest complaint I have for it is that I swear to you, before every single take, everyone was just like, dude, let's get really high and just be really mellow. And it's like every single scene, every single line is delivered like everyone's just about to fall asleep. And when I made a movie back in 2012 that hasn't actually been released. It's actually getting released, but it's funny because in going over the old footage for it, it's funny because I saw in all of the earlier takes we're like that. We're kind of like lethargic, kind of slower, and the guy like we kept saying we're going faster, more intense, faster, more intense. So like our takes just became faster paced every single time we were doing them, and like I feel like these people needed that. They needed somebody saying faster, more intense, because no one seemed like there's killer scarecrows that are chasing everyone, and they're like in a room like, well, we can't go out the back door. What do you guys want to do? I don't know. Let me go check the window. It's like, come on, they're scarecrows trying to kill you. Come on, guys, wake up. So, but I mean, that's exactly it. And like, you had interesting characters. You had, you had a gay couple as your lead characters, which instantaneously makes your film stand out in the crowd of like horror. That gives it this distinct thing that makes it a little bit different. Then you have the straight friend that's sort of all like secretly trying to sleep with the one guy, which I thought was a fun subplot. But again, it's just handled so lethargically that it just doesn't hit. Like none of it hits. You don't none of the characters there's not an ounce of personality. The only character has an ounce of personality is the girl that wandered out of a 90s movie.
The one that were like a rave. What did the hat say? It was like Rave Daddy or something on her hat.
Yeah, she like tripped and fell out of like 1995 like extreme movie and into this movie, but then she acts just like everybody else, like super mellow. But she's the only character that seems to sort of have a personality to them, I guess. And then of course she's the first one to get killed off. But all in all, like there was a nugget of a good movie in here. In an hour and 40, the nugget was buried. So they need to trim like a good 20 solid minutes out of this plot, and then just use your takes where your characters are talking faster. And I think that they actually could have had something watchable here. As it stands, it's not hard to get through, but it's certainly not fun to get through.
Exactly. I think all of us came to that same conclusion that it's fine, but it's not exactly fun. And like you were saying, everybody is so just low key. And then we were also discussing kind of offline the audio issues. It seemed like the audio in this movie was kind of brutal. I don't know if it was the version that I watched or what, but yeah, it was just all over the place.
I suspect they were using onboard sound, and
Probably.
it seemed to me like you would have scenes where the camera was further, like the framing, the people were further away from the camera, and you could barely hear them. And like Josh mentioned, they're so lethargic and quiet anyway that it just makes it hard to hear. Then there would be scenes where the camera was a lot closer, and then they were almost too loud. So it was like it's one of those where you hear people say a lot of times that audio can really, bad audio can hurt your movie worse than like bad video. And I think this is a good example of like, how that can damage it.
Yeah, the bad audio was tremendously like troublesome for me. And I do think it bothers me the most, especially with like when I watch an old low budget shot on video movie and the audio is not good. I understand because equipment was expensive, but now like you can get a very cheap like recorder and a decent Audio Technica microphone for like, a few $100s. And it's hard for me to come up with an excuse for why you wouldn't just do that when there was at least some budget here, and some of that budget probably should have been put towards audio, at least something for audio, because it is very bad to listen to. I was constantly adjusting my volume up and down on my TV throughout this movie to try to like pick up on everything.
Yeah, and I think everybody like acting super low key did not help at all, because a lot of the dialogue is very, very quiet, not just because of the recording, but also just because of the performances too. But like
Yeah.
Josh said, there's a nugget of a pretty good idea here.
There is, and that's why I rented the movie. The weekend this came out, I rented it because I'd seen the trailer. If you go watch the trailer makes this look like it would be a very exciting and awesome movie. Because it's a cool idea, and it's got cool imagery, and the scarecrow does look cool and everything. So
yeah, the
it's
guy
a shame
doing
that it turned out this way.
The guy that's like the main like skinny scarecrow dude that like he's doing all the like contortion stuff. Like he is genuinely interesting to watch, and it's sad we don't get him on camera more than we do. And the other, and maybe I don't know if it's just me, and I don't know if it's just a me problem in general these days. I feel like so many people write characters in horror movies that they're just all like miserable assholes. Yes. And I feel like this kind of has a little bit of that problem, or just everybody's just a dick, and you're like, well, why do these people even hang out with each other?
Yes, that is one of my chief complaints. It's something that was like, you can if you watch a movie from the mid 2000s to 2009, like that whole era was all the how obnoxious can we make all of these characters. And then it was like suddenly people started to realize, we're gonna make our characters kind of more likable. But then some movies kind of forget that, and this was one of those movies. Is like, no, we want that 2007 kind of vibe.
Right. Because I always think about when you watch like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they're just like regular young people, like with the exception of maybe Franklin. Everybody else is like, you're just a normal kid and you don't want anything bad to happen to them. So when bad things start happening, it's really, really brutal. But then if you watch some of these like, low budget slashers from like you were talking about, like kind of the mid-aughts, you just don't care. Like you don't care what happens to anybody. You're like, yeah, just start killing them, please. Like get them off the camera.
It's a case of oops, all Franklins.
Right, oops, all Franklins. Oh, God. That's just a horrifying idea in and of itself.
There's our low budget slasher idea right there.
No, I don't think I have the fortitude for that.
Nope. But yeah. So Field of
Screams.
Not the worst. I mean, it wasn't the most enjoyable movie. Like I said, it's a super long run time for what they're doing.
It's longer it needs to be for sure. And I think I just think it's disappointing because there is clearly some talent here. I think there's good shots.
Yes.
There's an all right idea for a story, a kernel of a story in there somewhere, but like it really is just disappointing, which makes it even worse than just watching something. You're like, well, there was no redeeming that this was going to be a piece of shit no matter what. Then that feels worse than this feels worse because there was potential. To me, at least.
Agree.
And there's a lot of space for a cool like scarecrow movie. I feel like we don't have enough.
There's really not
scarecrow movies that are good. Like we have like scarecrows, and I think that
feels like it should be easy to nail too. Like, but just hasn't really landed. Nothing has for that.
I don't know.
If I had this on a regular episode of Do Your Worst, it would have been probably around the middle of the rankings, if not like closer to the top, like the more bearable side of things. So it would not have it wouldn't have landed very low on the list.
Well, there you go. We didn't do bad enough. If we have you back on for another one, we'll have to do worse.
10-star movie. Must see. Everybody listening.
You did not do your worst.
We did not. We did our mediocre. Now, Josh, on the other hand, though, Josh hit us with one here. Josh's recommendation for the Do Your Worst was 1981's Night of Horror by Tony Malinowski. This one was interesting. I'll give a little plot synopsis. It's about a group of friends. They are traveling in an RV, and they get stranded at an old Civil War battlefield somewhere in Virginia. One of the girls in the group finds that she has been contacted by a group of dead Confederate soldiers who are begging for her help. That's a quick synopsis on it. This one I've seen mentioned before. I thought I had seen it, but I think I'd actually seen the remake of this by Malinowski. Like the
I've been wanting to check that out. Since we saw this.
Because I was watching it and I'm like, I know I've seen this movie, but I have not seen this movie. I think it was Curse of the Screaming Dead I saw years ago.
Yes.
This one, you know, I, I may go last on my thoughts on this because I want to hear what everybody else says, and I think my thoughts may be a little bit different.
Why don't you go ahead, Jeremy? I haven't heard from you as much. You tell us about Night of Horror.
Well, this movie starts out with a lie, which bothers me because at the very first frame it says this movie is designed to be entertaining, and that is absolutely not true. There's nothing here that was designed to be entertaining. If you have a grandpa who really likes watching Civil War reenactments, they're gonna fucking love this movie. Like, put this on. They'll be overjoyed because there's literally what felt like 3 hours of Civil War reenactment in the middle of this movie. Just somebody just went out and filmed them. There's no action. You can't even call this a horror movie because there's no horror here. Nothing scary happens. There's long scenes where something talks in a, scratchy voice to one of the characters in the slowest speech possible. But it's painful to sit through. It really is. I was telling Jeff and George that it makes me laugh when I see people online talk about how they watch movies in like 1.25 or 1.5 speed so they can watch more movies. And I've always thought that was invalid. If you watched this movie that way, you would miss nothing.
You're not wrong.
You'd completely get the movie still. You could probably watch it even faster. Yeah, it's terrible. It is just painful to watch. Nothing happens. The audio is bad, which, it was the 80s. So I'm guessing this was shot with no equipment other than just a handheld camcorder. But it's just awful. There's no plot here. There's no scary monster. Nothing ever occurs. You're just watching these people wander through the woods of Virginia for an hour and a half. What felt like 10 hours.
Really? No. Like you're watching people driving.
That's true.
To camping for the first half. Yes. And then you're watching people wandering around the woods.
Yeah, you watch people sit in a bar and then sit outside their RV and then drive their RV and then walk around the woods.
That's good. I'm glad you said that. Leads into what my thoughts are talking about the bar, because that's the first thing I want to talk about. Is this thing opens up and I was like, this is a bar? Because what this looks like is like, when people's dads set up bars in their basement, like, and they're like, yeah, this is my cool hangout spot for me and my buddies. It's like that. Like, it's like where they're sitting. It looks like somebody's basement. And the main guy is like drinking 5 different beers. He has like 5 different beers lined up in front of him. Each one is a different like 80s domestic American beer. And so you just imagine this guy is like, he's so despondent by the things that have happened to him, over the course of this film. And, that he has to sit here and drink these 5 terrible beers. And it was just from there, like you said, the sound was bad. And the movie is so talky. Like people talk back and forth about a whole lot of nothing the entire film. And again, this is another one of those, like, we were just talking about where, you've got people who just seem like they're written to, like, they don't, like, why, you're not sure why they're hanging out. It's like one of the running themes is they just keep talking about this guy's wife and how, like, her feelings and thoughts just are a bummer. And they don't want her to, like, bring any of that up. Like the whole time, which I thought was very weird, and like I would just totally leave if people were treating me like that. And that damn piano song that I guess somebody wrote for this that just plays over and over and over again the whole movie.
The one song in the movie.
The one song, and like at the beginning, it's just pensive, piano over like the same like little couple of bars, and then when we get to the Civil War thing, it breaks out in full like lyrics and everything, and I'm just like, oh my god, it was. And like, it's like, again, just nothing really happens. Like even when they get to the ghosts aren't menacing. They just stand there and talk like quietly.
Talk quietly and slowly. Like, I need you to. And it's like, oh, speed it up.
Boy, ghost.
Put it out.
We're going to be dead by the time you finish.
I needed 5 different beers. Maybe that would have helped.
And just to point out too, this is 1981. This was pre-shot on video, so this was not a camcorder.
Oh wow, this is film.
Yeah, this was film.
Millimeter, which meant that they had to record sound separately. So they obviously had some really low end equipment, because like if they shot on 16, they're probably using an old Bolex, and those things didn't really have much in the way of in-camera mics.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's rough.
Everything was ADR on it. Yeah. So, Jeff and Jeremy hated it. I kind of loved it.
Wow.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why. I can't quite explain why, but I watched the whole thing and was actually entertained. And I will actually say I do believe it was more entertaining than Field of Screams for me. I think it went so far bad that it kind of came back around on my side. I thought it was hilarious that the ghosts are like, hey, so we were a volunteer regiment in the Civil War for the bad guys, and we need you to do us a solid. And if I'm part of that group, I'm like, wait, you just said you were a volunteer regiment? You wanted to fight for the side of the South, the side of the slavery? Screw you, I'm not doing a damn thing for you. Like, I'm leaving. I'm out of here.
I hadn't thought about that, but that does make it a whole lot worse. Like,
Yeah,
they weren't conscripted or anything. They signed up on purpose.
They were excited about it.
They're like, yeah, we believe in this cause. We're going to sign up. And they're like, oh, we love our general so much that we want to, 130 years later, whatever. We want to reunite his decapitated head with his body. You have to help us. And I'm just like, no, we don't. But I will say, I love the reenactment scene because, like Jeff was saying, you get this like low key piano score the whole movie, and then over the reenactments, it is, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes long of just people being
4
filmed
hours,
doing
pretty sure.
4 hours. It's Civil War reenactment, and the song just goes on and on and on, and it almost ends like 3 or 4 times. And every time it almost ended, I was like, thank God. I don't have to see this anymore. I don't have to hear this song. Nope. It just picks up, keeps going.
Coming back. Yeah, we're coming back.
That was hilarious to me. And then I have never ever heard somebody want to fight a ghost so badly than one of the characters in this movie. So come to find out, the girl who can talk to the ghost, they believe she's the reincarnated wife of this Confederate general, whatever.
Yeah.
But the narrator's like, she's here now. He had her back then. Why can't these ghosts leave her alone? Why can't I make them stop? And I'm just like, dude.
Oh, wait. I'm glad you brought that up. Because that's the other thing I think is weird about this movie. The main character is like scheming on his brother's wife the whole time.
The entire movie. He's obsessed with it.
Yeah.
His brother's wife. That's just wild. It's wild. I mean, I guess it's kind of interesting, at least there's something going on, but damn. It's brutal.
And I love that they wrote the script in a way that really bad movies usually do, where they try to make the narration or the dialogue sound really like purple or flowery when it doesn't need to be. Like some of the things that the narrator was saying here were hilarious to me. That he's like trying to be so deep with his thoughts, and it just comes out hilarious. It's like the only other movie I can kind of compare it to is the beginning of Rotor. If you guys have seen that, like the RoboCop Terminator ripoff, where in the very beginning the guy's like, I remember that morning. I remember the buttery sunlight coming through my window, and like these things that like nobody would ever say. And the narrator of Night of Horror is the exact same way, the main dude. Just the way he talks about my life was forever changed and my soul shall be haunted. It's like, what? What are you talking about? Nobody would ever say that. Like, it was hilarious. I loved it. It was so cheap, so stupid, so dumb, had no point, and I loved it. Yeah, I mean, and like Jeremy said, the name of the movie is Night of Horror. There is zero horror in this movie. There is nothing frightening that happens. There's a conversation with some ghosts. They dig up a plastic skull, they bury it, and the movie ends.
Well, that's the crazy part about it. Like the beginning of the movie, he's like setting it up, talking to his friend,
Yes.
with their backs to the camera the entire time. And he's like, I can't go back to what I was doing. I can't do it because I know these horrible things. This terrible thing happened, and it's like, oh, what's this terrible thing gonna be? It's just like, that's the terrible thing that is making your entire life. It's like, my God, how baby hands are you? Come on now.
All right, this would ruin my life too, though, because I'd be like, Jeff, All my life, I thought ghosts would be cool.
Right.
It worked. It's over. All this hard stuff was a lie.
All right, so what this is actually, this is the origin story of Zach Baggins, right? Because like he did this and he realized ghosts were no big deal, so now he can go talk shit to all the ghosts that he wants to.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, and the main character was supposed to be like a famous rock star or something. I think they mentioned it once or twice. But yeah, he's like, my life is forever ruined because of this night. What? Why? Why?
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
will say that if you do get the chance to watch Curse of the Screaming Dead, which was Tony Malinowski basically remaking his own film, like 1 year later, it's just 1 year later. I will say that it's probably like 100 times better than this one. It's still not good. It's still really not a good movie. But I sat down to watch it. I was just like, oh my god, here we go. And afterwards, I was like, oh, that was all right. So if you want to see that same story, but actually done kind of decently, and have the ghosts actually be harmful, then we'll give one a shot.
Yeah, I was so same thing kind of with Lake Placid. I'm like, why did they make this movie? What was the impetus for this movie? I'm like, who was this movie for? I started thinking about like H.G. Lewis making like 2000 Maniacs back in the day.
Sure. Mhm.
And I think he had said like originally it was only played at like Southern drive-ins, if I'm not mistaken.
That's interesting.
And I get that same feeling with this one. They were probably like, hey, Leonard Skinner's big as hell. Let's make a movie about some killers. You gotta drive it, boys. And like, I think that's how this came about. They were like, what do Southerners love? The war.
No.
Damn right. We're gonna make a movie.
No, and I really want to see what your average group of dudes who are really into Leonard Skinner would think about this movie.
Yes.
Like, I want to see that.
That thing you were talking about earlier with like, well, this being about the guys that were, fighting for the Confederacy and were volunteers.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would they? I would not be surprised if like that was sort of Tony Malinowski kind of like injecting his own sort of personal political viewpoint in there.
Sure.
So I feel like that was part of it, especially considering that like the only other two movies that he made were a remake of this one, which again featured Confederate ghosts, and then a documentary about the Confederacy. So that's it. That's it. That's all he made, and he apparently went to reenactments a lot.
Hey, I was going to say he had to be a
He
reenactor,
had to be.
right?
Yep. That's what I was just about to say. He had to have been.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we know it's not he acted for.
No.
He did. I took a look at his IMDb though, and he did do editing on quite a few films that were halfway decent after this. I mean, he did like Nightmare Sisters, Dr. Alien, Ghetto Blaster. All three of those are pretty fun. So he did work on some other stuff after this. Just didn't direct anything, like Josh was saying, other than basically a remake of this, and also that documentary about the Civil War. And watching it, I'm like, well, it's 81. They didn't have a whole lot of money. Maybe this was the best they could do in 81. And I'm like, no, Evil Dead was out by this point. There's no way this is the best that people could do on their own at this time.
That's not fair, though. We can't hold people to Sam Raimi standards.
Why not?
Yeah.
I hold Sam Raimi standards.
Well, you're going to be disappointed.
Now that you mentioned that, I think there isn't there that part where in Nightmare Sisters where Brink Stevens looks over and says like the South shall rise again? No, that's
Oh
not in
shit!
Oh no!
I think that was on the cutting room floor. He begrudgingly edited that piece out.
That was not the director's cut. That was the editor's cut.
The editors, yeah, exactly.
The editor's cut.
I'm gonna take this clip home for myself.
Yes.
This one says it's really about states' rights.
States' rights to what, Jeff? Answer the question. States' rights to what?
Yeah. Well,
I know we're all Southern, so except for John.
Right.
But
I guess technically now I am Southern because I do live in the south part of the United States, but
Oh, there you go.
Southern
True.
California, I don't think
Southern
qualifies.
California.
Well, that counts.
He did say he spent summers in Greensboro, so he's at least half Southern.
That's right.
Exactly.
I do got my Greensboro, North Carolina accent sometimes.
There you go.
Well, Need Cowboy had to go along with that.
Well, I will tell you, I guess, in more plugging, the film that I told you that I made in 2012 that is getting a release from SRS. I do actually play a character, and I play multiple characters in the movie, and one of them is a Southern man with a cowboy hat. So there you go.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm definitely down. Yeah, I would say, well, obviously, we close this out before we get too far into it. But yeah, so Night of Horror, I'm kind of, we did dog on this one, but I will say I have seen much worse. I have seen much worse than this. I was very interested in what was going on. I think I think what we've all kind of hit on, there's some cool ideas here. I think the idea of some friends stumbling on like a battlefield and dealing with like Confederate ghosts, there's some cool stuff. It's just it's like it hadn't quite coalesced right, and it sounds like maybe he got the idea a little better with his next movie. So I am interested in seeing that. But yeah, I wouldn't say this is the worst thing I've ever seen, but it was definitely an endurance test. I'll just say that it was definitely an endurance test.
It definitely was, and it was one I actually started it like in the afternoon. I got maybe 10 minutes in. I was like, I can't do this. I'm not mentally prepared for something this slow and bad. But then I put it on later that night and had a blast with it. It has a really weird, dreamy quality to it. I don't know if it's just the softness of it being shot on was it 16 millimeter? Yeah, I think it's 16, right?
It might be because they accidentally forgot to focus the camera. Gives it.
Well, I mean that could be it too. They just smeared the lens and didn't clean it. It's fine. But yeah, I don't know. I got on board with it. I mean, like it's not good. I'm not recommending that anybody watch it. But if you have morbid curiosity and you're a bit of a film sadist, then yeah, check out Night of Horror.
Or don't. Probably better you don't.
Yeah, don't do that to yourself.
Yeah, I didn't know if Josh was going to plug it for himself, but I did want to say that in the lead up to this, I wanted to make sure I checked out some more of his stuff. I didn't know exactly what we were going to be talking about, and I saw the last Amityville movie that Josh wrote and directed, which is on Tubi, and I thought it was really fun. I thought it was a lot of ingenuity, a lot of I could see things that I've tried to do there myself, where you're working with what you've got and you're coming up with some fun ideas. It's funny. It was very funny. I think people would really enjoy it, especially if you are one of these people who's noticed there's been 500 Amityville movies that have come out in the past decade. This is it puts a nice little capstone of a commentary on that I think is good. So I really enjoyed it. I think people should check it out. I think they would like it.
I watched it a little while ago too.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Josh.
I just would say I'm actually just still very proud of it. I'm very happy with the way it came out, and with it, yes, definitely with what little we had to work with.
Oh yeah, trust me, I definitely understand. At some point, we'll have to send you over. We haven't made it fully public yet. We probably should, but Jeremy and I made a short film a few years ago, and I said it took us a whole lot, and I think a fellow Frontlines filmmaker would appreciate it. So I'll have to get that over to you at some point.
Nice, yeah, I'd definitely like to check it out.
Yeah, one thing, Josh, about Last Amityville is I like that you're great with your community, the people that follow you on YouTube, your patrons. I really like that you brought that community into the movie as well and kind of made it. I mean, that's kind of the beginning of the movie, right? Is somebody sends you a piece of Amityville that you weren't expecting, one of your fans. So yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. You bring them in on like Zoom and a handful of things, and made the people part of your film, which I thought was really neat.
Yeah, that part was really fun, and I mean, the whole thing with the patron and the patrons and the the online sort of community, it's been this really fun group of people, and I thought number one, it'd be such a fun way to incorporate that and sort of incorporate that community, and also have some actors I don't have to pay.
Right.
Always great.
That's important.
But what's funny is I'm right now in the process getting ready to go into production on a new feature film.
Nice.
Another very low budget one. And I did, once again, there is a section of the film that we'll be announcing online on my Patreon in a little bit. There is another opportunity for the patrons to participate and be in the movie again. So we have that. I'm trying to make that. It's a different kind of movie, so they're incorporated in a different way. But it's just another fun way to get those guys involved and for them to be a part of the movie.
That is super cool.
And these are all good reasons why you should go to Movie Timelines. You should go to Josh's Patreon. You should sign up because you can be a part of this. And his channel is really awesome. Like he has, if you like the stuff that we do, guaranteed you like the stuff that he does. So you should definitely get out there and check it out.
Yeah, I will say, like, if I'm watching anything on YouTube that's like movie related, video game related, my wife is usually like, meh. But if it's Movie Timelines, he always gets invested and actually sits down and will watch the video. So I will say, Josh, you are that's a pretty rare feat when it comes to movie YouTubers. And one thing I've always found interesting about your reviews and your videos, Josh, is that I rarely disagree with your opinions on the movies that I've seen that you cover, which is it's an interesting thing to me because taste is subjective for everybody, right? It's all different. But yeah. I gotta say, movie tastes definitely align there.
That's always good to hear, and it's funny because I know that I feel like my movie tastes do tend to be, kind of basic bitch. Like, I mean, I don't think that I have too many like spicy takes. Like, oh my god, he likes that movie. What I'm not like the guy that's out there saying like the Nightmare on Elm Street remake is actually the best one. I mean, that's not.
We were just talking about that before you came on. Actually, Jeff was like, "Go ahead and get your bad opinions out now before we start recording," and I was like, "Oh, the Nightmare on Elm Street remake's the best."
But I mean, I do have spicy takes. Like, I mean, I don't apparently. I guess I'm in the minority in the fact that I can't stand the 2013 Evil Dead. But like, I do when I have an opinion that I feel like is spicy, I try to sort of justify it and give my reasonings for it instead of just being like, I don't like it.
No, I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, I don't dislike the 2013 Evil Dead, but it's not. I think Jeremy and I were just talking about this the other day. The first three are just our speed, and the new stuff's fine. It's just not exactly what I'm looking for, the Evil Dead stuff.
Yeah, they don't feel quite like Evil Dead movies. I get that it's going in a different direction with the new films. And like the 2013 one was fine. I hate the last like third of that movie. But yeah, they're fine. The new ones, but
the last third of the 2021. You mean the
2013 one?
You mean where they kill all the characters and all of a sudden the character you're following is the person that was the villain for the entire first two acts of the movie, and now all of a sudden in the last 15 minutes you're supposed to be rooting for her when you spent the last hour and 10 minutes actively rooting against her because she was evil? That one? That ending?
1000%. Yes. Yep. I went and saw that. I think it came out like around my birthday in 2013. It was like end of April that it came out. I remember going to see it for my birthday and getting into it for like the first half, and then that last third, I was just like, "This is not good. I don't love this." So yeah,
you have a lot of like complicated birthday movie opinions.
Shit, that's right. Nightmare on Elm Street remake was my birthday as well. Yeah, that's right.
Interesting. Yeah. You should maybe just don't go to see movies on your birthday. Maybe that's going to be a thing.
Oh yeah, I saw Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy on my birthday, so that was a good one.
That's not bad.
That's a good movie. Yeah, I like
it. See?
Okay. Maybe I'm wrong. Just a couple remakes. Movie. Maybe don't see horror remakes.
Yeah, just don't go see remakes. That is a fair opinion. I'll shy away from them from now on.
You want my favorite? You want my? This is spectacular and nothing to do with anything of anything at all.
That's fine.
But it's one of my favorite, like going to see a movie in the theater. I went to go see Jeepers Creepers in the movie theater. Mm-hmm. And I went to see it. I was by myself. There was like 2 other people in the theater with me. It was like because it was a Monday. It was like I went to go see it on a Monday, like in the midday, and like I watched it, and I was just like, I mean, the movie was pretty good, and like I was like, oh, maybe I'll talk about it with somebody the next day. And I had a couple friends who were into horror, and I was just like, well, maybe we'll talk about it. And then I never ever talked about it with anybody because I went to go see it on September 10th, 2011. Or 2001, sorry, 2001.
Oh, no.
The next day, no one was talking about Jeepers Creepers.
The next day you're like, why is nobody talking about Jeepers Creepers? What the hell?
I know. Yeah, damn it. Can you talk about this movie with it? No.
Oh, look, I know this other stuff's going on, but let's stop and talk about.
I was gonna say, like, everybody's like huddled around the TV watching the news and just like, hey, you guys see that that new Jeepers Creepers? Yeah,
I mean,
that's scary.
This is all so terrible. I can't believe this is happening. But I mean, do you think he should have died at the end? What do you think? I mean, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
You think Justin Long's gonna be like a Scream King?
Scream King. He is. Justin Long.
Yeah.
I love it. Him, Elijah Wood. Like, there's a whole bunch of dudes that just went down that route and love it.
Yeah. You're like, I just want to talk about Jeepers Creepers and that new There Might Be Giant album. Come on, like, who cares about the news? Like,
wasn't there a new Jay-Z album that day too that like dropped on the 11th? I'm pretty sure there was.
I know less about Jay-Z than They Might Be Giants. I'll tell you that for sure.
What?
This might surprise you.
Yeah, you might be surprised.
A nerd that likes They Might Be Giants. I refuse to believe it.
What we like to try to do here when at the end of our segments is try to recommend some stuff that's kind of vibing with the theme of the episode. And we thought that with us doing the Do Your Worst, that we would try to come up with a few so bad they're good movies for everybody. So why don't we kick it over to Josh and let him give us a recommendation up here at the top.
Well, I mean, if you want a really good, this movie is so terrible, I can't believe what I'm watching. This is the most ridiculous thing. Because to me, like, the people that make a bad movie intentionally, it never clicks for me, right? When you get something like a Thanksgiving or somebody that's like trying to make a bad movie, it doesn't quite click. I really love it when somebody is like genuinely trying their damnedest to make like an actual good film and just failing in every single way possible and doing it in just the right way to make it super entertaining. And I covered this movie. I can't remember if it was on Do Your Worst. It was one of the Do Your Worst movies called Monkey Killer. And Monkey Killer is one of the most amazingly terrible in every single possible way, in the best possible way that I have seen in the past couple of years. It is Neil Breen levels of just making things wrong in the exact
that says a lot.
Yeah, it is. I was watching it with my jaw on the ground of like, what am I watching? What is this? So that I will throw one additional one out there for you. That is a movie that I don't want to say much about because it is a movie that I don't know what the whole point was. But if you've never seen the movie Spaghetti, I recommend watching it. Spaghetti. And don't read, don't read anything about it. Just go in and know that it is a terrible, terrible movie that just makes a decision in the final act that you will not believe that they did, and because it makes no sense, and it is wonderful.
I'm gonna watch both of these tomorrow.
Look at these right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch both of these. They sound great.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm sold on Spaghetti with that poster alone that's on IMDb. Yeah, I will definitely be watching both of these.
Fantastic.
I found out after watching Spaghetti that my friend actually edited that movie as well too, so I could talk to him and be like, well, what's up with this?
Be better just to never know.
Yeah.
Jeremy, what you got for us?
Yeah.
So in the so bad it's good category, did not decide to go with the super low budget or anything, but just a movie that is constantly ragged on by everyone that I find to be endlessly entertaining and watch enough that it annoys my wife, which is Maximum Overdrive. I unironically fucking love Maximum Overdrive, and everyone hates it. It's just I watch it a lot. Everyone hates Maximum Overdrive. You see it all the time on like the worst movies ever lists.
How dare they?
I mean, I don't think it belongs on a worst movies ever. It might be on a like not the best Stephen King adaptations list, but not like
one of the most fun though.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a rare movie where like the trailers that they put out with Stephen King are just out of this world. Insane. Yeah, it's just like screaming at a camera. Like, you're going to be so scared. Watch Maximum Overdrive. I love it.
Like, I've done $400 of cocaine.
Yes, exactly. Hey, that's a... oh, go ahead, Jeremy.
I was going to say $400 of cocaine. That seems like not even close to it.
No, I mean, like just before the show.
Oh, okay.
He had done a lot more than that prior.
That was 80s money.
Yeah, exactly. Also 80s money. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a different time.
I'm pretty sure that King said that he made Romero vomit on set with the steamroller and the kids playing baseball.
Like, what in the hell?
Apparently, it was extremely graphic before being cut, and Romero told him, "You got to chill. Like, you're gonna have to cut this back. You're never gonna get this released." Which is insane to me to think that even George Romero was like, "Nope, over the line. This is too much."
Probably because it's kids. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
It is a touchy subject. I can't believe made it into the movie. It is a really. It is. I mean, again, I saw it when it came out. And it was I was horrified. I was like, geez, what the hell?
Yeah, I have a funny story, kind of similar. So I think I've told Jeff and Jeremy this before, but I remember watching Spookies as a kid. And the kid is like trying to run away from the house. And my dad's like, hey, don't be afraid. Because I'm just like young. He's like, oh, don't worry about it. Don't be scared. They never kill kids in movies. Kid fucking dies. Like, I'm like, oh, great. Thanks, Dad. I have trauma. But yeah, no, Maximum Overdrive is a great one, Jeremy. And I think that was one that I didn't see until like Joe Bob was showing it on TNT.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's cool.
I think that was my intro to it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great way to see it, probably.
Do you have anything other than Maximum Overdrive?
The other one, I think a lot of people probably are familiar with if you watch older movies, but I don't know how old a lot of people go on these things. And that's the original So Bad It's Good Intentionally movie, which is Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, which actually has a sequel coming out this month. Yeah. So,
that's wild.
I didn't know that.
With the 97-year-old John Astin returning in it.
Holy shit.
I didn't even know John Astin was still alive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Damn.
I'm tentatively excited about that movie.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'll have to check that out. So it's funny that George mentioned Spookies because that's actually was at the top of my list of So Bad It's Good. I think I've told this story a couple times on the pod, but or at least I think I've mentioned it. Growing up, when I was a kid, I thought if a movie was out, if it had been released and you could see it, that it meant it was good. I just thought that there was like some council of people who got together and decided that it was good and it would come out. So I watched Spookies unironically and loved it, like as a kid and growing up. I think I missed some of the sillier stuff in it, or maybe I don't know. I was a kid, I wasn't paying close attention. But essentially, Spookies, it's an 80s movie, 1986. About a group of folks who go to this abandoned house, and then it happens to be inhabited by like an evil sorcerer who's planning to sacrifice them using magic and monsters in his house to revive his dead wife. So that's already a crazy as hell, plot for a movie. And another thing that I love about it is that it's a group of teenagers, but there's like a 40-year-old man with them. I've never really understood what that's about or why that's happening, but it's weird. But what's cool about Spookies is it's very low budget. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I think there were a lot of production problems. Like I think they filmed, if I remember right, I think they did part of the movie and then they had to come back much later and do more. So the plot doesn't exactly make sense, but you're really not there for that. You're there to watch these kids get, destroyed by all these different monsters. And some of these practical effects are really cool. Like there's a woman who turns into a spider, like a giant spider. that I think is a really cool transformation thing, even now, for it being such a low budget movie. There's a cool, like, glowing eyed, like, Grim Reaper thing that you see in the movie. All really cool. There's also, if you're really into, like, poop jokes, there's these weird poop men in the basement that make fart noises. So that's cool too.
Man.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh, go ahead, Josh.
I could tell you a whole lot about Spookies, but it'll have to be after we stop recording.
Oh, interesting.
We're gonna do that.
I have some inside scoop on there that there's this part of the story that I don't feel as if I should have be public.
Oh, okay. Well, unfortunately for you guys, there is some things that we keep privy for just us, and this will be one of those things. But yeah, Spookies is awesome. Another couple I wanted to throw out real quick, and I won't go into too deep of detail with them. And there's a movie called Things from 1993. This is not the infamous Things. It's not the one about the like monsters in the like cabin or whatever. This is actually an anthology, like a very, very low budget anthology, where a woman kidnaps her husband's mistress and kind of forces her to listen to these stories, which I think is a cool, weird wraparound story idea. But there's a story called The Box about a man who's like, I guess, punishing like his local brothel with this monster thing he keeps in a box. And then there's also a story about this man and his mistress killing the man's wife, and then like her parts are returning, like to get revenge or whatever. So it's again very, very, very. I mean, I don't know what the budget on this movie is, but it's extremely low. But I have a lot of fun with it. I really love low budget. I love anthologies anyway, but I love low budget anthologies. So I thought this was a lot of fun, something to check out. And the last thing I wanted to make sure got on people's radar. I'm going to recommend this tentatively because this is important that everybody needs to decide how they feel about Chris Seaver films at some point in their life.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted to recommend Filthy McNasty. This is a movie that Jeremy and I watched probably back in like 2001, 2002, somewhere in that ballpark. We were in high school, like just outside of high school, and this is a movie that was made by some dude that was probably right out of high school. Chris Seaver movies are very sophomoric, like toilet humor, like a lot of it's off-color stuff that probably wouldn't be okay by today's standards. You just kind of have to know it was a product of its time, and silly, a lot of dick and fart jokes, a lot of like, I mean, you just kind of have to be there. But Chris Seaver is going to be one of those directors. When you go into the movie and watch it, you're going to know whether you like that or you don't. And if you like his stuff, I think there's a lot of fun to be had. These are definitely friends getting together, shooting stuff, on video, coming up probably with ideas on the set. There's a plot to this movie. It doesn't really matter. You're really just kind of watching almost like a slideshow of like horror comedy sketches. I think it's a lot of fun. I don't know how. I think I know at least George is into Chris Seaver. I think Jeremy likes Chris Seaver too. I would wager Josh is probably a fan.
Yeah, because when I first found Chris Seaver movies, the first couple I watched, I was not a fan. I was like, God, I'm not into this at all. And then I don't know. I watched a couple more, and then it just started growing on me, and I was just like, oh God, this is so stupid. I love this. And now it's like, now I'm actually excited to watch them. They're fun. They're silly fun.
They are. Stockholm syndromed into it.
Yeah.
There's something charming about Seaver. I can't put my finger on it. I think I discovered his movies a little bit later. It was like early days of Netflix streaming, when they would just look for any content at all to put on there. I think it was Malva was the first one I watched, and I'm like, somebody made a movie based solely on a Seinfeld joke. Let's go. And really enjoyed it, and then went through all like the Teen Ape stuff that he did. Seaver makes really fun movies, but like you said, they're definitely a product of their time. So
yeah, there's like a character that pops up in a lot of them. It's definitely blackface, and that's definitely not cool. I don't think it was done in a intentionally to be offensive. It's just one of those things that product of its time.
The character eventually stops being blackface.
Correct.
At one point, so that he's blackface in the early movies, but then they keep bringing him back. But now he's just a white guy.
Right. I guess they figured that out. Like, oh, shouldn't do that.
It was interesting to learn that was. That
You know,
way.
I wrote a note here that I think actually might sum up Seaver for some people. I feel like Seaver movies feel like if the cast of all that grew up and started making like super low budget, like not safe for work, like movies, like horror movies.
I could definitely see that.
Well, all right, yeah. So thanks everybody for joining us. Thank you, Josh, for coming out. We really, really appreciate having you on the show. We're huge fans. We love talking to you. You're definitely a guy. Seems to be kind of a similar wavelength than us. Make sure before we close out, you tell everybody where they can find you again.
Yeah, absolutely. Just go on YouTube, check me out on Movie Timelines, and yeah, go if you want to go on Tubi and check out the last Amityville movie too.
Yeah, definitely do that.
And we'll have links to all those in the episode description if you just read down there beneath in your whatever podcast app you're using.
Right. Yep. And then I wanted to remind everybody once again to follow. Make sure you're following us on social media. I think we're most active on our Instagrams. Mine is Jeff Scream Signal. George's is George Scream Signal. And Jeremy's is Jeremy Scream Signal, just to make all that really easy for everybody to find us there. And then if you're only on Facebook, we do have a Facebook. It's a Scream Signal Network on Facebook. Otherwise, you can always find episodes where you've obviously already found them on your favorite podcast platforms. And we're hoping, and we're also on YouTube too. We're on YouTube, but that's just a Scream Signal on YouTube, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, and we do want to apologize. We tried to make video work last episode. We had some problems. We're going to be revisiting that soon, and actually, hopefully soon we'll actually be able to record some episodes in person on video. So that should be pretty cool too. We should all be in the same place again before time.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Well, all right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thank you again for Josh for being on the show, and we did want to get yeah. And we want to let everybody know that next episode is going to be our first fan requested topic, where we're going to do cover possession, exorcism type films. So if you're into that kind of stuff, check us out then, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.